Hey, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me for this Life and Transitions Experts podcast live taping and recording. Again, I'm Courtney Rollins. If you listen to this on the podcast on Spotify, thanks so much. And as the intro stated, I am the host of this podcast, and here we're dedicated to really helping professionals share how we're helping families and people through some of the biggest transitions in their life. And that's settling the affairs and the estate of a deceased person. In particular, when you're going through the probate process. Probate is, and we'll talk about a little later on, is the process of settling the affairs of a loved one. And quite often there's property involved in there where the family or the people who have survived need some type of viable solution, whether that's keeping the property for themselves, perhaps keeping it and turning it into a rental or an investment, or perhaps they're looking to sell it for top dollar through the traditional listing, or perhaps they need a more speedy, convenient sell and are willing to sell, trade speed and convenience for a discounted price. Whatever that is, at Estate Pro Service, the company that I run, we try to help families figure out what their solution is to their problem and help them navigate the probate process. And of course, I also hope that after experiencing probate, that we can help encourage them to do things that will help avoid the probate process in the future for their family and their loved ones. So that's what we do here. So we'd love for you to subscribe, to share any comments you have, any questions that you may have that I can address would be awesome. I consider myself an expert, not because I know everything, because I don't, but it's because I am committed to the process, continue to learn, to continue to grow, and continue to be better so that I can give more value to you. So let's share the screen and share a little presentation here. I think I'm sharing now. And I believe it's up. Is it up? Yes, there we go. So let's take a look here. So we're going to look at the AOC-E-505. That's the inventory sheet. Okay, so there are 12 types of property. Don't let it be overwhelming. It's actually it's not as daunting as it seems. It's just the instructions are a little bit, what I would say, a little, have you ever seen instructions given for a very simple task, but the instructions are so detailed that it makes a simple task like buttering toast or something seem very challenging. That's what this is here. I think that the government or agencies or folks who wrote it are trying to write it in a way where everything is laid out that it makes it a little confusing. So again, the personal representative is going to be the person who either is the executor if there's a will and someone was appointed, or as an administrator if there isn't a will involved and the person was appointed by the courts. Regardless, they're going to be responsible for opening the probate, notifying all creditors or folks who may be creditors so they can have the chance to state their claims against the property. They're going to have to take an inventory of all the assets that are held by the estate, as well as an accounting for all the bills that had to be paid, and they will actually settle those bills and taxes, distribute any inheritance that left over, and close the estate of that deceased person. And so let's look at, there's three parts of the AOC-E-505. And essentially part one is the property that's in the estate. Part two is property that is held by the estate that can be sold if they needed to pay claims. And then part three is addressing any wrongful death lawsuits that may be apparent. So let's look at part one, property of the estate. So here, this is where any account that's in the sole name of the decedent. So that's either deposits, savings, checkings, certified deposits like CDs, money markets, any of the accounts that are in the sole name of the decedent will go here. And you got to include supporting documents. So that means the type of the account, the number of the account, all the supporting documents. That's going to be a theme that you hear quite often. All supporting documents need to go along with there. So that's just go in that section. You just place it right there in that section, section one. Section two, joint accounts without right of survivorship. So that's people that you're sharing a joint account and it doesn't state that it automatically goes to this particular person or entity after the death. And so you will state with supporting documents the percentage owned by the decedent. And again, that's similar to stuff on number one, but this time it's just a joint account, but they don't have the right of survivorship there associated or connected with that. And again, detailed information along with that there. Number 3, any property of the state that stocks and bonds that are in the sole name of the decedent or jointly owned, again, without right of survivorship. And you're going to show all the value of at the time of death, date of death, and you're going to show the percentage that is owned by that the decedent. And again, supporting documents. All right. The next one is section 4 is all cash or any money or checks that haven't been deposited yet. You'll have to show that, have that shown. And then number 5 is any other personal property that's actually included in the will that is directed to be sold or has already been sold. You put the legal description of it there, the proceeds, all that good stuff you'll put there in that section. All right. All right, let's go on next. Then when you total up this section, you will have that total amount, and then you'll multiply that total amount by 0.004 to know what your filing fee is. And the minimum fee is $25. So the total amount of all of those tallied up times 0.004 will be the total amount you'll be paying at the time of filing inventory. Now, section 2 is property which can be added if there are claims that need to be paid. So these are properties that didn't necessarily have to go through probate, but they can be added if needed to pay claims. That first one is going to be any joint account that does have the right of survivorship on it. So see, this is starting to make a little more sense. So you can list again the name, the type of account, include all that information that's required there, so that again you can show your support and proof. And these are, again, you're going to see a theme. These are with right of survivorship with them. So number 2 is stocks, bonds, security that's owned jointly with the right of survivorship or is registered with a beneficiary form. In other words, it says this is what happens automatically transferable on death are these benefits. So those are going to be included in section part 2. So that we know what's in this estate's, what assets does the estate have. Part 3, again, any personal property that's recoverable, that's held recoverable. You can go check the general statutes. That's General Statutes 28A, section 15-10. Insert nerd glasses there, but to see what those properties are recoverable are there. Maybe I should do a podcast specifically on that. Pacifically, not Atlantically, specifically. Then number 4 is any real estate that's held, any life estate, and that's willed to the estate, but can be used if needed to pay claims. All right, and then the last section, that's part 2. All right, so what's good about that is that you won't have to pay fees on that until it goes. That's why we need the attorney and folks to really, or someone to sit down with you, because we want to make sure that you are paying the proper fees and have everything accounted for properly. But in the case of a wrongful death, that takes it to a different route, and you would state that, and again, you would follow that procedure there. But if you do find that you need support, this can be a very overwhelming process. I try to take a holistic approach to helping folks who are going through probate, whether there's different aspects that are needed. We're talking today about inventory. I have software that's likened to QuickBooks for estates and probate. So this really makes the process a lot smoother. I'm actually headed down in a little bit to meet a person that I'm able to help go through the probate process, close off the inventory so you can move on to the next section. But feel free to reach out to us at State Pro Service. Definitely love to sign up for a consultation and see how we might be able to help you. Other than that, I'm going to sign off. This is the Life and Transitions Experts podcast, asking you to remember to let your light shine. All right. Talk to you all